Hello, everyone. I trust that you're all still, not too cold and not too hungry. I don't know how much time is left for me, but I'm not even going to attempt to discuss this broad, complex topic called transgender and faith in its entirety. Instead, I've actually chosen to focus on a more concrete thing, which is an actual religious festival, to show how transgender people, trans women in the Philippines especially, or trans feminine people, are reclaiming their dignity and trying to, create and carve a space for themselves in this particular festival. So, actually, let me start first by giving you a situation, the situation of trans people in the Philippines. Prior to the arrival of Christianity, actually prior to being colonized, trans people in the Philippines have occupied a very valued and even esteemed, revered position in Philippine society. They were trans feminine people or trans women during that time actually occupied healing roles. They were in charge of social cohesion. And I guess this is common in much of other societies that have pre-colonial transgender traditions. However, after the era of colonization, more and more trans people have been pushed into the margins and have been branded as, gender crossings or gender variants have been branded as sinful or immoral. So this explains the current situation. This partly contributed to the status of trans people today in the Philippines, where we are widely marginalized because presently we do not have any anti-discrimination laws covering gender identity and gender expression. Trans people in the Philippines are routinely being bullied in school, are declined jobs, they are being taunted, the transgender people in general are exposed to HIV risk at a disproportionate rate. And in the Philippines, there are no statistics segregating transgender people from men who have sex with men. So we are generally lumped under the male category. So that's the basic situation. However, in this particular presentation, we will see that several groups of trans people in the Philippines have started organizing and have started engaging faith communities, especially those who are pro-LGBT, who are progressive, because in the Philippines, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, it's like the representative of the Roman Catholic Church, is not very transgender friendly and transgender inclusive, as we will see later. Let me start by telling you more about this particular tradition. Some of you probably know about this who come from a Catholic background. The Santa Cruzan is it's a festival that commemorates Queen Helen or Reina Helena's finding of the cross. This has probably versions in other Catholic, predominantly Catholic or Christian countries like those in Latin America and in Europe. Because in the Philippines, more than 80% of the population is baptized Catholic, according to recent statistics. So it's a vibrant tradition that started in the 19th century, sometime in the 19th century, and it's celebrated mostly during the summer months, so April and May especially. So the Philippines being a predominantly Catholic country, we have plenty of fiestas or occasions where we commemorate feast days of saints, of revered persons in Catholic tradition. In particular, this Santa Cruzan is part of the Flores de Mayo. So the Flores de Mayo is a religious celebration that spans the whole month of May, and it ends in the Santa Cruzan. So it's meant to commemorate the Virgin Mary in general. But for this particular tradition, we remember the finding, the search of Queen Helen, the mother of Constantine, she found the crucifix of Christ. And when she was doing the search, actually, she had an entourage with her. So now this has evolved into this tradition wherein, women predominantly dress up. It's a religious historical beauty pageant. of sorts. So it's where women dress up in vibrant, glamorous clothing, gowns, dresses, traditional dresses, and they actually have positions that to occupy, in the procession. It's a parade. So, for example, in a particular barangay or in a particular district, and the local parish there organizes this, and women and young girls, sign up, and they're dressed up, and they have some have consorts, some have none. So they parade. Usually it starts late afternoon or early evening, and then they end at church. So they bring flowers, and there are lights, and people go out of their houses because it's a fine summer night. So they watch it, and they marvel at the beauty and the grace of these people, and then they end, with prayer. So, however, okay, so it's a very nice religious tradition. However, as with the Catholic stance in the Philippines, the traditional Catholic stance, whenever trans women have played a role in this vibrant Pinoy tradition. However, they were limited by the religious institutions to background roles. So, if they wanted to parade, they cannot because you are not women. So trans women, they say, you are not women. So you can do support roles, you can do background roles, like do the makeup of the girls who will be parading, or you can sew their gowns. So you can arrange the arcs, and decorate them with flowers. But when trans women or trans people want to be in the parade itself, they're not allowed because the prevailing opinion of the Catholic Church in the Philippines is that, trans women are not women. And it will be a disgrace, or it will be an abomination if trans women paraded with cis women, with other kinds of women in the parade, in spite of them being Catholic. So, so Reina Elena is actually the head of the Santa Cruzan. I'm actually going to quote some Catholic bishops here, who they said, it's a religious activity here. The former public affairs chair said that it's sacred, it strengthens our connection with the cross. And since it's a religious activity, gays should not take part in it. Gays and transgender are, usually conflated in the Philippines situation, like I guess with other many non-Western societies where transgender and gay are conflated together. So many people from the Roman Catholic Church of the Philippines see transgender participation as, in the parade itself, as a mockery of the faith, and it's not, it makes the parade lose its sacredness. It profanes it. However, as we can see, many transgender people in the Philippines are starting to engage, if not the Roman Catholic Church of the Philippines, the other religious Christian denominations that we have in the country, because we do have several, like the Metropolitan Community Church, the LGBT Christian Church, and other denominations who are pro-LGBT, who are LGBT inclusive, and they are organizing their own religious parades that are equivalent to the Santa Cruzan. And actually, I did participate last May. And what's great about these parades is that after the actual parade in itself, there actually are activities that are lined up for everyone, and they include activities that advocate for LGBT rights and LGBT inclusion. So aside from the usual Santa Cruzan that ends in church where you pray and you get the blessings, they actually involve these Santa Cruzans that are transgender inclusive actually involve activities that promote LGBT awareness. Like, for example, for the last one that we had last May, we actually talked about the IDAHOT, so International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, which fortunately coincides with the Santa Cruzan because they're both held in May. So it's a good thing that the Santa Cruzan is a good venue to actually raise awareness of hate crimes against transgender and gender nonconforming people. And with regards to HIV and AIDS, the last Santa Cruzan that happened, that we did with Metropolitan Community Church, the LGBT Christian Church actually, they did have VCT and HIV testing on the grounds of the Santa Cruzan. So anyone who was interested in having an HIV test, after the parade or before or during, can go to these booths and have counseling, etc., etc. So these are some of the good practices that come from my country that, integrate pro-LGBT-based advocacy and actual culture. Where LGBT people themselves and transgender people themselves are taking the lead in claiming what was rightfully theirs before. So I hope I've shared something meaningful with you, and thank you.